Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the show. Today's Tuesday, the 2nd of June, 2020. I'm glad to have you guys here. Now, here's the thing. Last night, I was watching on TV the riots and stuff down in the United States and the big cities and stuff. And, this could very easily spill over into Canada, too. I mean, just on the other side of Detroit, we have Windsor. And then we have big cities there in Ontario, that this unrest can settle into. But that wasn't what I wanted to point out. What I wanted to point out is, as I was watching these riots and stuff, I was watching the daytime riots. It's mostly adults there holding signs and stuff, and they're protesting what happened. And then at nighttime, the whole complexion of it changes. And what I noticed was they were filming, what I was watching anyway, what they were filming was the nighttime rioters. And, what they mostly were to surprise me. I was kind of surprised by it last night, what I saw. They were mostly, probably the median age was probably 15. A lot of them were like 16-year-olds, 14-year-olds, 17-year-olds, 18-year-olds. They were in that age range, more or less. Probably the average age was probably only 14, 15, or 16 years old. And a lot of them were riding on bicycles and wearing hoodies and stuff like that, and masks. Well, this is an epidemic right now, and people are supposed to wear masks. But at any rate, this was evidently a lot of the core group of who's doing the actual smashing store windows and things like that. And, I just got watching it and my mind wandered a little bit. I remember back when I was about 14 or 15 years old and I had a bicycle and I was riding around and stuff. And I just kind of pretended as I was watching the film and watching the kids riding around on bicycles doing all this stuff and sometimes jumping off of their bicycles and running together like a group, I got thinking about what would it have been like if I had been in there during that when I was like 15 years old? What would I be thinking? And I was trying to get my mind into this crowd of young people and what's really going on in this situation, And, they don't see it the way we see it. We as adults, when we look at this on TV and we see this looting and rampaging and everything else, it's a totally different perspective if you're a young person, 14 or 15 years old, and you're actually on the street and you're actually witnessing this go on. You get a totally different perspective than the adults that are sitting at home and watching this on the news. Have a totally different perspective. Now, here's the thing. Some of you listening to my show, you might have kids, and you might live in these cities down in the United States, and do you really know where your kid is at nighttime? Do you really know who your kid is associating with? Because behind these groups of young people, young adults, the American government has said that these groups, these different groups that want to highly radical groups in the United States that could be labeled as domestic terrorism could be behind these things. So you really want to know where your kids are. And, I'm going to tell you, if your kid, has been staying out late and he's been taking his bicycle and going off for long periods at nighttime lately, and you don't know where he's been and stuff, it's not going to pay you to sit down and scream at him and try to get it out of him. It's just going to make him him or her. It's going to make them all the more quiet and not tell you anything. They're not going to confide in you or anything. That's not the right approach to take. You want to sit down with them and you want to be very calm and try to find out exactly what they've been doing, and you want to try to put a stop to them. You want to reason with them. You might want to say something to them like, "Do you like to eat?" And, your kid might say, well, yeah, I love to eat. And, oh, boy, do they ever love to eat. They can raid your fridge and your fridge is empty in 2 hours, you know? And so this is a common ground you can find with them. And you can say, well, I like to eat too. Did you like those chicken wings I cooked for you last week? Oh, yeah, I love those chicken wings. Well, I got those down at the grocery store down the block there, you could say to them. And now that grocery store's all burned down. You're not going to have your chicken wings anymore. And try to use logic as a tool to effectively make them understand that there's repercussions involved for actions. In other words, if you take a certain action, then there's a repercussion. You could explain to them why if this continues, how things could really get messed up to where they'll have to go hungry and stuff like that. And you want to know where your kids are. Could your kids actually be involved in this situation that's going on right now? And you want to explain to them how this could affect their life further into the future. If they get, like, if something happens where they get caught or something, looting or vandalizing, how this can stay with them for their whole life. You want to explain to them the ramifications of the actions that they're taking. In a calm way, explain to them why it's not right. And, in the end, what might end up happening is all on their own, they might volunteer and they might say, well, I'm not going to do that anymore. If you take the right approach with them, and you're calm and you explain to them about this situation. So, but this shocked me last night when I looked on there and seen it. It's mostly kids. Mostly. Now they might be being directed by these nefarious organizations, but I was shocked. It's mostly kids. That's what I saw. And riding around on bicycles. Anyway, listen, guys, let's get into the markets today. Oh, one other thing I wanted to talk about is the virus. I've been saying all along how this virus is going to start to disappear. I think it's starting to disappear now, just exactly like I predicted. But here's the thing. The thing could be coming back because this virus, most people have coronaviruses at least once or twice in their life, and it's a head cold, is what it is. This virus is like some sort of a super head cold that's mutated super head cold. And, that's what head colds do. They they're seasonal. They're seasonal. And so it appears that this thing is, it could come back. And what we have to do now, if it disappears now in the next few months, and things start to go back to normal, we have to be extremely vigilant when this thing tries to come back through 3 things we need to do to keep it not from doing what it did again. One is face masks. And the biggest reason why face masks is important is because the person that has it, the disease, has a lesser chance of spreading it if they're wearing a face mask. 2 is the protection it would offer the other person that doesn't have it. So face masks are very important. Also, keeping your distance, even after this social distancing, even if it's only 6 feet away from a person, trying to keep that arm's length away from everyone is a very important thing to countering the spread of this virus. And there's 2 other things that are extremely important if this thing does come back in the fall. Number 1 is contact tracing, and number 2 is testing. And we could prevent if this thing does come back. And why I'm thinking it might come back in the fall is because head colds are seasonal, for one. And coronaviruses are your head colds. That's what they are, But number 1 is the fact that they are seasonal, and number 2, one of the reasons why I think that it could come back, is the immunity only lasts a certain period of time. and this is why they're talking about how that this might be with us for a long time, is because immunity probably only lasts 6 months to a year. In other words, you're producing antibodies for 6 months to a year. And you might be actually quite literally able to catch this thing again maybe a year from now. So this situation is we're going to need to have our defenses in place when this thing, if it does come back, so that we can stop it next time. This thing kind of took us unawares, the first time around, and so it created a really bad situation. Anyway, let's get right in there and take a look at the markets today. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look. They are smashing the heck out of silver today. It's down 56 cents. This smash just started. And you know what I'm suspecting? That they use the paper, in other words, the SLV, the paper silver, smash the price down, and then what they do is they buy up all the physical at the cheaper price, and they don't want the paper, buying up the physical. I've been suspecting for years now, and I've been talking about it on my channel, how that the really rich might all have a period where they smash the price of silver down unreasonably low, and then they come in and scoop up all that's left of the physical for themselves at the lower prices, And because these guys they don't buy the way you buy. These guys can buy with a click of a mouse button. They can actually buy the physical up, and they can clean out vast inventories of physical right out. You might see the price go down and say, "Oh, I'm going to run in and buy some physical one of these days," and I suspect they're going to do that one of these days. Maybe this is it, but I'm suspecting that they're going to buy up all of the physical, sell off the SLV, take the money, turn around and buy physical with it. And physical's just going to, boom, disappear. And one of these days, I suspect that they're going to do that. This could be it. Because this is an awful big smash, and they could get in there, and with the click of a mouse, they could buy all the physical up. And the way you buy it is you have to get in your car, drive down to the coin store or whatever, and that takes time. These guys can buy it all with massive quantities with the click of a mouse. And then it's all allocated. They can allocate it all. And it's just like when you go to the hardware store or something and you're going to buy, say you're going to buy a door, at the hardware store. And you say to the guy, I want that door. And you put a deposit on or whatever. And the guy goes over and puts a sold sticker on it. That's the way with these guys. They allocate it, and it's just like sold. The inventory's sold, and even though it might still be in the warehouse where they were getting ready to ship it out to a big company like Atmex or whatever, in other words, they can sell it right out from underneath the average guy. These guys can buy it right out, I should say, right out from underneath the average guy, and you don't get any. It's like, just like one of those deals where you open up the paper and you see a used car on sale really cheap, just exactly what you want, and you call it up and the guy says, well, sorry, it's sold already. Bought out from underneath you. It's the same way. Cryptocurrency, 268.1 billion. Let me refresh the page. 267.6. So crypto's going down a little bit now too. Bitcoin has made its way. It did crest up above $10,000, so I was wrong. It's now broke down to 94.85. I thought that it'd go up above 10,000 and stay. It hasn't. It's broke back down below 10,000. 94.85 today. Dow Jones Industrial Average today, 135 points up. 130 points up. 25,607 today. Well, let's take a look at crude oil. 36.22 today. It's up 78 cents on the day, or 2.2% for sweet light crude. U.S. Treasuries. And what we're looking at is the whole long end of the yield curve is rising today. We got 2.4 basis points in the 30-year at 1.47, and the U.S. 10-year is at 0.674. It's up 1.2 basis points today on the U.S. 30-year. 10-year. Okay, U.S. dollar index, 97.63. So we're not in the 98s or 99s anymore. She's dropped back to 97.63. There was a bit of a shortage on dollars, but I don't think that's going to last a whole lot longer. The dollar shortage. So the milkshake theory, it did play out, but it might be coming to its conclusion. Listen, thank you guys for listening. Give me a thumbs up. We'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.